What's going on, people, and welcome back to another FPL video. Now obviously we've still got a little while to go until game week 21 kicks off because of the cup games, having a break as well after the cup games, so got a little while yet until it kicks off again. But I haven't done my recap for game week 20 yet, so look at game week 21 and my team, how it's looking so far. I'll probably do a video closer to game week 21 deadline, just to give a final thoughts on my team going into game week 21. So as well, I've got one free transfer to play, so I'm going to discuss that a bit today, my thoughts on that. Game week 20 recap, the average for the week was 59 and I finished on 45, so below the average, disappointing. For at one point I was going to get above the average, but it just wasn't to be. I got a bit unlucky on my captaincy, which I'll get into in a minute. My vice captaincy worked, but bit frustrated with the captaincy pick because I feel like it could have easily have got more than it did. As you can see from my team, Neto I went with 3-1 losers to Tottenham away. I fancied Bournemouth to get something in that game, even though they were the away team, because they've been in good form, and I didn't think Tottenham would necessarily just beat them by 2 goals. So I went with Neto. It was a bit of a risk. Vicario I had on the bench, and he only got 1 point more though, Vicario, than Neto, so it wasn't that bad of a swing of points. So 2 for Neto. Anderson kept his place for me, and they did run out winners 3-1 against Brentford, but I only got 2 points for him, so I would have liked a few more points for Anderson. Pedro Porro obviously in that Tottenham game against Bournemouth, but again disappointingly only got me 2. Kyle Walker made his debut this last game week just gone for me, and they ran out 2-0 winners against Sheffield United, obviously a former team of his. Got me a clean sheet. Only played 67 minutes, but it still got me 6, so I'm pretty happy with that. And onto my captaincy, I captained Trent last week, and as you can see, I got 0 for him. Conceded 2 goals, Liverpool obviously against Newcastle, but they did win, but he did pick up a yellow card, so annoyingly. And he missed that rebound from the Salah penalty, which I don't know how he missed the target, let alone not score it. So frustrating week for me in terms of the captaincy with that. I feel a bit harshly done by, but it is what it is. 0 for Trent. Bowen was in a 0-0 boring game against Brighton that I watched. Just lacked quality in both attacking boxes. So in the final third from both teams, he got me 3. Could have been worse. Saka, I got a 7 for. Scored a goal, obviously. They were on the losing side, though, against Fulham 2-1. Considering the outcome of the game and Arsenal losing and him being disappointing recently, he did return. Got me 7, so I can't be too disappointed with that. John McGinn, I only got 1 for, which was disappointing, even though they won 3-2. He picked up a yellow card, only got me a point. Would have liked more for him. Phil Foden, again, one of my best consistent players through this season since I brought him in. 2 assists against Sheffield United. Picked up a clean sheet, obviously, and he got me 3 bonus points, and I viced him. So annoying when you look at it and you want to you think, oh, I should have captained him, but it's all in like hindsight. So happy with it regardless. 12 for Foden, and he's one of my best consistent performers through the season. So 12. Ollie Watkins got me 8, 3-2 winners against Burnley, 2 assists, didn't score, but good return with an 8. Solanke only got me 2. I did think that he would do more against Tottenham, even though they were away. I fancied him to score, but he only picked up 2 for me. And then my bench, Vicario returned 3, so it was only 1 more than Neto, who I had in, so I can take that. Jesus was disappointing, so not concerned that I benched him. He only got 1. The big disappointment, and a lot of managers did this last game week just gone, so it makes me feel a bit better that I'm not the only one to do it. A lot of people did it, and that was benching Cole Palmer. Obviously scored a wonderful goal against Luton, scored 2, but that dribble neatly tucks it away, beating about 3 players including the keeper. Just the boy's got talent, so I'm not making a mistake. I'll get into my team for game week 21 in a minute, but I'm not making a mistake of benching him again. I just fancied Luton for that game at home. I thought they could at least grab a point, if not win it. And the last 10 minutes, they definitely put the pressure on Chelsea, but just couldn't get that equaliser. But Cole Palmer scored 2, assisted 1, and got 3 bonus points. Had an 18 total, but unfortunately it was on my bench. And then my final sub, I had Ben White, who only picked up 1 himself. So, yeah, I think other than Palmer, I think at the bench again I got spot on. Bit disappointing to miss out with them Palmer points. So going into game week 21, as I said, I do have one free transfer which I'm going to use, and I have got someone in mind I want to bring in, which I'll get into in a minute. Currently at the moment, as you can see, I'm going with Neto in goal. They are at home, but they have got Liverpool, so it could be tricky. I think at home, Bournemouth should cause problems for Liverpool, but we'll have to wait and see. It's a tough one to pick between the keepers again for me this week. Walker away to Newcastle. I fancy City for that game, even though it's at Newcastle. Walker keeps his place. Pedro Porro away to Manchester United. I think that game could go either way. Defence-wise for Tottenham are not great, but he is a bit of a differential in terms of riskiness, but even if they concede and lose games, he can still return. So Porro remains. Trent remains in the team despite that disappointing week last week for me with a captaincy pick. Away to Bournemouth, I think Liverpool could at least get a draw in that, if not nick it, but I do think Bournemouth could do the same. So tricky one, but I can't bench him. He's got to stay in the team because he could easily return. That is my back three. I'm going with a back three. 4 in the midfield again. Foden away to Newcastle. Double up with that City with Walker. I fancy City for it, and Foden's been one of my most consistent performers through the season. Saka at home to Crystal Palace. I think Palace could cause them problems, but at home Arsenal, I'd like to think that they could get over the line and get the 3 points. So Saka has to stay in the team. Bowen is a bit of a risk because they're away to Sheffield United. There's no Paqueta at the moment. He might be back. There's no Kudus, who is in form. So he might struggle for a bit of service, being as he's playing as a striker at the moment. But I still fancy that he could still do something against Sheffield United. Even though Sheffield have improved since Wilder's come back in, I still feel like West Ham could do it away, and if they do, he's going to be a major part of it. So Bowen keeps his place. Cole Palmer, as I said, I'm not making a mistake of benching him again. He is in the team and I'm captaining him. Fulham could be a tricky game. They're in form, but Chelsea are at home. I think it's going to be a tight game, this one. It could go either way, but I feel like there could be a lot of goals in this game, and I'm captaining Palmer for it. I'm taking the risk. We're at home though, so hopefully he'll return again. Captain armband on Palmer. 3 up top as well. Watkins away to Everton, which is not an easy game, but I feel like they could at least get a point. Solanke is my vice for this week at home to Liverpool. I feel like he could definitely cause the defence problems for Liverpool. So he's in great form. I'm vicing him. Gabriel Jesus takes the final spot up front for Arsenal at home to Crystal Palace. I'm hoping he can get something. He doesn't always return, but I feel like Arsenal got a pretty decent run of fixtures, and while he's in the team, I don't want to waste him on the bench, so because he could potentially go again soon for me. So Jesus is the final pick for the starters. And then on the bench, I've gone with Vicario. It was a tough decision to decide between him and Neto, but I feel like Bournemouth have got a better chance at home against Liverpool than Tottenham have against United, potentially. Currently, he's on the bench, Vicario. McGinn is my first sub away to Everton. I feel like, as I said, Villa could get something in that game, even though they're the away team. Ben White is the second sub at home to Crystal Palace. And then I've got my Anderson as the third sub away to Arsenal, obviously. My one free transfer I'm looking at and considering is getting Anderson out and bringing Gomez in from Liverpool, because Robertson is not back until at least the end of January. Tsimikas is out for a long time. I feel like Kanate could rotate with Matip, and Van Dijk's the only one that's going to keep his place really in that defence. And I think Gomez is the other safer option, even over Matip and Kanate. I feel like after the cup games have been played, and I know that he's fit and doesn't pick up an injury if he plays in the cup games, I do like the look of Gomez, bringing him in at least until Robertson's back and doubling up on Liverpool players. So that is my plan. Now, I know De Bruyne, Doku and Haaland have all trained this week for City, but I'm going to keep an eye on them. If I'm going to bring any of them in at the moment, it'll be Haaland, but I've currently got 2 City players. I would like De Bruyne in it at some point when he's back, but I'd also like Haaland, so Walker will probably have to come back out for me at some point to get both of them in, Haaland and De Bruyne. It's going to be tough with the funds as well at the moment though, to get both of them in. So it's a bit tricky for me to work that out at the moment in terms of how to get them back in. So I'm going to leave it for now for Haaland and De Bruyne. and that's why I'm going to go with a Gomez pick in a defence and take out Anderson and just monitor Haaland and De Bruyne for at least 1 week, if not 2, and then think about how to get them back in. So that is it, guys. Let me know your thoughts, what you have, if you have any free transfers for Game Week 21. Maybe some of you have got 2 free transfers, so unfortunately I've only got the 1. It's tricky to even get Haaland in with the funds at the moment. Apart from that, it's just being patient, not making any rash decisions until the cup games are played and we're closer to that deadline for Game Week 21. I will do a final deadline video for Game Week 21 just to show you my final team selection for Game Week 21 nearer the deadline next week. So look out for that dropping. Have a great time, guys. Hope you're enjoying the fantasy football content. Let me know in comments as well how you're doing with your team and your plans for Game Week 21. And I'll see you guys soon.